I asked AI to analyze the whole empath versus narcissist thing, and honestly, the answer pissed off both sides. Empaths didn't like what they heard, narcissists definitely didn't like what they heard. And if you identify as either one, this video's probably gonna make you uncomfortable. But here's the thing. I'm not here to validate anyone's victim story or villain arc. I'm here to tell you what the AI actually said when I asked it to be brutally objective about this toxic dynamic. And trust me, nobody escapes this unscathed. So before you click away thinking you already know everything about this topic, let me tell you, you probably don't. Because what the AI revealed about who actually wins in this dynamic is not what anyone on the internet is saying. So first, let me set the stage. If you've been on therapy TikTok or relationship Reddit for more than 5 minutes, you've seen this narrative everywhere. The pure, selfless empath gets trapped by the evil, manipulative narcissist. It's basically become the modern fairy tale, right? Innocent victim meets dragon. Dragon destroys victim's life. Victim escapes and tells their story. But here's what made me want to ask AI about this. Every single person telling these stories identifies as the empath. Like, I have never, and I mean never, seen someone be like, yeah, I'm the narcissist in this situation. Which made me wonder, is everyone dating narcissists? Or is something else going on here? So I asked the AI the most controversial question possible. Are empaths and narcissists actually two sides of the same coin? And what it told me is going to make a lot of people angry. Okay, so the AI basically said that the whole empath versus narcissist thing is real, but not in the way people think. Here's what it explained. First, and this is important, there's a huge difference between clinical narcissistic personality disorder, which is an actual mental health diagnosis that affects like 1% of the population, versus someone just being selfish or emotionally immature. The internet has basically turned narcissist into a catch-all label for anyone who hurt me. But here's where it gets spicy. The AI said that self-identified empaths are often dealing with something completely different than what they think. Ready for this? Many people who call themselves empaths are actually codependent. They don't have strong boundaries. They derive their entire sense of worth from being needed by others. And this is the part that's gonna sting, they're often attracted to narcissistic people because the chaos and drama validates their identity as the helper or the giver. It's like, you know that friend who's always in a crisis? And you're thinking, why do they keep dating terrible people? The AI basically said, because on some level, they need to. The drama is the point. It proves they're empathetic and caring. And before the comments explode, let me be clear. This doesn't mean abuse is your fault, but it might mean your picker is broken for a specific psychological reason. Comment below if this is hitting different right now. But okay, that still doesn't answer the big question. Like, why are these two personality types drawn to each other in the first place? Like, what's the actual mechanism here? Because the AI gave me an answer that honestly made way too much sense, and it explains why the cycle is so hard to break. It's not about chemistry or trauma bonding in the way people usually describe it. It's actually about something way more uncomfortable. It's about what both parties are unconsciously trying to avoid. All right, here's what the AI said, and I want you to really sit with this. The empath and the narcissist aren't opposites. They're both running from the same thing, having to develop a stable sense of self-worth that doesn't depend on other people. Think about it like this. The narcissist needs constant external validation to feel good about themselves. They're like a phone with a broken battery. Always needs to be plugged in, never holds a charge. That's why they're always seeking attention, admiration, control. But here's the twist. The empath also needs external validation. They just get it differently. Instead of demanding praise, they get their worth from being the good one, the understanding one, the one who loves unconditionally. They need someone to save. They need to be needed. It's like two broken Lego pieces that happen to click together perfectly. Neither piece is actually functional on its own, but they fit each other's dysfunction so well that it feels like it's meant to be. The narcissist finds someone who will tolerate their behavior and provide endless supply. The empath finds someone who validates their identity as a martyr. It's supply and demand, not soulmates. And the AI said something that honestly made me pause. It said both are using the other person to avoid doing the internal work of building genuine self-worth. Damn, that hit different, not gonna lie. Now, here's where the AI really went there, and this is the part that made me realize why this dynamic is so toxic for both people involved. I asked it, okay, but who wins in this? Like, who comes out on top? And the AI's answer wasn't the narcissist like everyone assumes. It was actually way more depressing than that. The AI said nobody wins. It's a lose-lose situation. And here's why. The narcissist gets what they want in the short term, validation, control, someone to regulate their emotions for them, but they never develop real connection or genuine relationships. They're basically emotional vampires who are still starving because they're drinking from an empty well. They're like winning battles, but losing the war of ever having actual fulfillment. But the empath, they're losing too, just in a different way. They get to maintain their self-image as the good person who tried so hard and loved so much. They get the sympathy from friends, the validation on social media, the identity of being a survivor. But, and this is crucial, they never have to face the uncomfortable truth that they chose this, that they stayed, that their empathy was actually a lack of boundaries, that their unconditional love was actually codependence. The AI put it like this. The empath gets to be the hero of their own tragedy, which prevents them from becoming the author of their own success story. That is different, not gonna lie. And here's the really messed up part. Both people often repeat this exact pattern with new people. The narcissist finds a new supply. The empath finds a new narcissist, because neither one has actually healed or changed. They've just found new actors for the same movie. It's like that meme where someone keeps putting a stick in their bike's wheel and then blaming someone else when they crash. Except in this case, both people are doing it to each other simultaneously. Now, before we get to how actually to break this cycle, because that's coming, I need to address something important that the AI made really clear. There's a massive difference between someone with actual clinical narcissistic personality disorder and someone you're calling a narcissist because they broke up with you. And this distinction matters way more than you think. The AI explained that actual narcissistic personality disorder is a clinical diagnosis with specific criteria. We're talking about someone with a pervasive pattern across their whole life, not just someone who was selfish in your relationship. And here's why this matters. When you label every ex or every difficult person as a narcissist, you're doing two harmful things. First, you're stigmatizing people with an actual mental health condition. Narcissism is thought to develop from severe childhood neglect. These are people who are struggling with a legitimate disorder, not comic book villains. And second, and this is the part people don't want to hear, you're letting yourself off the hook for your part in choosing and staying in an unhealthy relationship. If they're a narcissist, then you're automatically the victim, right? You don't have to examine why you ignored red flags, why you stayed, why you have weak boundaries. The AI said most people who get called narcissist online are probably just emotionally immature, selfish, or incompatible. And most people calling themselves empaths are probably just people with poor boundaries who need therapy. That doesn't make the pain less real, but it does mean the solution is different than what Instagram therapists are selling you. And if you're starting to realize your empath identity might actually be codependence in disguise, that's growth. That's the first step. Comment, I felt that, if this is resonating. All right, so we've established that this whole dynamic is toxic for everyone involved, that most people are misusing these labels, and that nobody actually wins. But here's what you actually came here for. How do you break the cycle? What did the AI say you need to do if you're stuck in this pattern? And warning, the answer is going to require you to get uncomfortable. The AI gave me a 3-step process, and none of these steps are fun. Step 1, stop identifying as an empath or labeling others as narcissists. Seriously, these labels are keeping you stuck. They've become part of your identity, and when your identity depends on being in these dynamics, you'll unconsciously recreate them. You're not an empath. You're a person who needs to work on boundaries. They're not a narcissist. They're someone who isn't good for you. Step 2, build self-worth that doesn't depend on other people.
This is the hard one. If your value comes from being needed by others, you'll keep finding people who need you in unhealthy ways. If your value comes from external validation, you'll keep seeking it in destructive ways. You need therapy. You need to do the internal work. You need to learn to sit with yourself without needing to be someone's savior or someone's supply. And step 3, recognize the pattern and interrupt it early. The AI said something really practical here. These dynamics don't happen overnight. There are always early warning signs, but people ignore them because the intensity feels like chemistry, the chaos feels like passion, the drama feels like depth. Real healthy love, it's kind of boring at first. There's no crazy highs and lows. There's no dramatic rescuing. There's just two people with solid boundaries and healthy self-worth choosing each other consistently.
If that sounds boring to you, that's your sign that you're still addicted to the dysfunction. Look, I know this video probably wasn't what you expected. If you came here looking for validation that you're a pure empath and your ex was a monster, sorry. If you came here looking for tips on how to manipulate empaths better, you're in the wrong place. But if you came here actually wanting to understand this dynamic from an objective perspective so you can finally break the cycle, then hopefully this helped. The AI's conclusion was honestly kind of hopeful though. It said that once people stop using these labels and start seeing the actual psychological patterns, they can change. The empath can learn boundaries. The narcissist can learn genuine connection. But both have to want to grow more than they want to stay comfortable in their roles. So here's my question for you. Are you ready to give up the identity that's keeping you stuck? Drop a comment and let me know. Are you team "this called me out" or team "this is BS"? I genuinely want to know. And if you want more AI perspectives on psychology that nobody else is talking about, hit subscribe. Remember, the goal isn't to be an empath or avoid narcissists. The goal is to be a whole person who attracts other whole people. See you in the next one.